Thank you, Rachel and David, for that beautiful selection. And Zeke and Jesse, thank you so much. That was beautiful. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am Gail Crawford, and I want to say welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington. I am honored to serve as a proud member of the Board of Trustees. Today is Sunday, December 1st, 2024. Whether today is your first time joining us, or if this is your regular Sunday place of worship, we are so honored you chose to be with us here today. Here at UUCA, we are a community of radical acceptance. We come from all backgrounds, races, genders, sexual orientations, disabilities, and abilities seen and unseen. Whoever you may be, and wherever you might be in your spiritual journey, we welcome you to bring your whole selves to be with us in this beloved community. One announcement: we want to make sure that you remember to join us today for our Buy Nothing Holiday Market, where you can shop around, take some time to look for some gifts, decor, and wrappings. It's not a swap meet. If you didn't bring anything, you're welcome to just grab something. We are so glad you're here. At UUCA, we encourage you to come for community, find inspiration, and live with purpose together. Welcome.
Gail, thank you for that warm welcome, and thank you for your service on the Board of Trustees. And thank you to our musicians this morning. I'm so excited when David, our director of music, first talked about on this Sunday seeing if we had some folks who don't sing in the choir or aren't part of the regular music program but might want to bring their music to us. I thought maybe like one, maybe two people would be able to do something like that, and instead we had a plethora of riches. So I'm just delighted and so pleased to be with you all this morning as we celebrate that. I'm Reverend Amanda Poppy. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as senior minister here at UUCA, and you can see I'm quite happy about that. I'm also happy to be joined this morning by Amy Shields, our worship associate this morning on the chancel, by our many musicians led by David Mann, our director of music. I'm grateful for Wes and Cameron, who are on AV in the back, and for everybody who is joining online. And I'm very impressed with all of you for being here at 10:15 and not at 9:15 or at 11:15, as perhaps you have been arriving on Sundays to date. Just a reminder that for the whole month of December, we are holding this one service at 10:15. So be cozy and be connected. And we look forward to then, I believe it's 4 services on Christmas Eve. So don't worry, on balance, we've got the same number. It is good to be with all of you this morning. And I want to invite you, whether you are online and you can say hello in the chat, or if you are here in the sanctuary and turn toward each other, say hello, particularly to someone that you haven't met yet, and wish them a happy December, perhaps. It is indeed good to be together this morning. I invite you to re-find your seat. If you are coming in on the slightly later, but certainly not late, side of things, perhaps other folks, if you have a space near you, you can just wave your hand and be like, please, join my pew, me, pick me. And then it'll be like middle school, but nice. We'll all want to be together. Our call to worship this morning is a poem titled "The Gift to Sing." And this poem is written by James Weldon Johnson. You might recognize that name. James Weldon Johnson lived from 1871 to 1938. He was a national organizer for the NAACP and an author of poetry and fiction. Perhaps best known for the song "Lift Every Voice and Sing," he also wrote poetry collections and novels, often exploring racial identity and the African American folk tradition. And as we explore music and what it means to us to make music, to be part of music this morning, I found these words inspiring. The Gift to Sing, James Weldon Johnson. Sometimes the mist overhangs my path, and blackening clouds about me cling. But oh, I have a magic way to turn the gloom to cheerful day. I softly sing. And if the way grows darker still, shadowed by sorrow's somber wing, with glad defiance in my throat, I pierce the darkness with a note and sing and sing. I brood not over the broken past, nor dread whatever time may bring. No nights are dark, no days are long, while in my heart there swells a song, and I can sing. May we sing this morning, and may we worship together.
This morning, we light our candle of compassion and solidarity with those in our country and around the world who are experiencing loss, grief, violence, war, or loneliness. We send our thoughts to those across the globe who are experiencing instability, uncertainty, and armed conflict, and we remember those closer to home who are impacted by gun violence. We light this candles for our neighbors near and far who are impacted by the injustice and prejudice of our world. We light this candle as a vigil for perseverance in the face of adversity and democracy in the face of darkness. I light this candle for all of us who have been broken and wounded and yet still hold hope for the future we can build together. May we hold those who are suffering in our hearts as we work to create a more just and equitable future. I invite you now to join me in our chalice lighting. The words are printed in your order of service. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light within every human heart. May our individual sparks meet and merge, bringing both light and warmth to the world.
We'll be singing the first 4 verses.
Hoping that some of our younger friends will come up and join me on the chancel. Hello, ooh, an elf. Our younger friends and an elf, that's perfect. It's the beginning of maybe the Christmas season, huh? Yeah, I love it. Come on in, you wanna sit down with me? Perfect, and I'm gonna maybe need some help as we tell this story. I'm gonna need some, did I just bonk you with my binder? Gosh, sorry, Teague. I'm gonna maybe need some help from some of you, and I'm also gonna need some help from our singers in a little bit. So today in service, oh, very beautiful. Is she a mermaid? No, she just has purple and blue hair. Well, who wouldn't want to? Yeah, very, very nice, lovely. Okay. So this morning we are talking about music in service. Just wait. We're going to find out what the globe has to do with music. It has to do with a particular song. But we're talking about music in general and about how music can make us feel. And I wonder if any of you have ever had a song or a piece of music make you feel a certain way. Yes? What do you think? Has a song made you feel happy? Yep. Awesome. Me too. Has anyone ever had a song make them feel sad? That happens to me. I have a whole playlist when I need to cry in the car. Sometimes I talk about that in church. Have you ever had a song make you feel excited and like jumping up and down and dancing because the song's so great? Yes? Do you have a particular song that makes you like to dance? Would you like to tell us what it is? It's a YouTube song? Oh, excellent. Great. Yeah. Do you have a song that you like? Yeah. Do you want to? Shake It Off. Yeah. We all like to dance when Shake It Off comes on. Yeah. That's true. Yep. Yes.
Party in the USA.
Party in the USA. Also a great song. Yeah. Love it. So, yes. What is it? Is it a song that makes you like to dance? Awesome, fantastic, I love it, a great diversity of music. Well, I want to tell you about a particular song today that often makes us feel, what makes me feel connected and like I want to do work to make the world better. And we're going to find out what it has to do with the globe in a minute. So this song is called We Shall Overcome. Have any of you ever heard that song before? Anyone out there? I'm going to ask our singers to sing the first verse of that song, and we'll see if it's a song that any of us remember.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
What I learned about that song, which I have been singing, just hold, which I have been singing for a long time, is that song began very, very many years ago. In fact, that song was first sung in the South of America, in the United States, in states in the South. Can someone help me find on the globe? Yes, I think, yep. No, in the United States, but in the South. So like Georgia and Alabama and South Carolina, Florida maybe. That's right. In African American churches in the South, in the early 1900s, so more than 100 years ago, people sang a song called I Will Overcome. I Will Overcome. Sounds a little bit different, but it was a very similar song. Then in the 1940s, a group of black women from one of those churches in Charleston, South Carolina. Can you find Charleston? Are the states on here? Can you find South Carolina? Yeah, see if you can find it for me. South Carolina. Oh, very nice. Thanks, Emerson. These women got involved in protesting conditions in a factory where they worked. And so they worked in a big building, and the conditions in that building were bad for them. It meant that maybe they didn't get enough breaks, or they weren't paid a fair wage, and they had to work very long days. They didn't get to even go to the bathroom, right? What? I know. So they were protesting, and while they were walking outside protesting with their union, they sang a version of the song they sang in church, I Will Overcome, but they sang, We Will Overcome, because they were all working together to make change at that factory where they worked. Then, a few years later, some of those women attended the Highlander Folk School in Tennessee. Who can find Tennessee? You want to look for it? Not so far from South Carolina, but a little ways. Yeah, it's like a long rectangle state. They went to the Highlander Folk School in Tennessee, and when they were in Tennessee, they taught this song that they had been singing to other students at Highlander Folk School, where they were bringing together black people and white people to try to change and make things more fair in the country. While they were there, the folk singer Pete Seeger heard them teach the song, and then he and a teacher at the school, Septima Clark, changed the song from "We will overcome" to "We shall overcome." Exactly. So we had two changes. Then, in 1957, Pete Seeger went to a really big party to celebrate and to work for civil rights, and he sang this song, and a guest at the party, the guest of honor, was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And so then he heard this song. So you can imagine it traveled from South Carolina to Tennessee to wherever this party was. Then, in 1963, in Washington, D.C., who can find Washington, D.C.? It's very close to us, right? You know where it is, yeah. Thousands of people sang this song at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And this song became part of the civil rights movement in the United States. But hang on, because now we have to start spinning our globe. This is the part I didn't know. In 1967, East Germans, who can find I don't know when this globe's from. Who can find Germany? East Germans sang this song, "We Shall Overcome," at rallies where they protested a lack of freedom. It's all the way in Europe, East Germany. In the 1970s, South Africans, new continent, we're moving from Europe now to Africa. Did you find Germany? Is East Germany? Well, you're close. It's somewhere right there. Here it is. Nope, that's France. In the 1970s, South Africans, in the very bottom here yep, there you go. So we went from Europe to Africa. South Africans adopted the song as a freedom song in their fight against apartheid. In 1971, during the Bangladesh War for Independence, a youth choir in India, now we're in the continent of Asia, sang this song, and it became the best-selling Bengali language record of all time. In 1986, South Koreans sang this song when they protested the fact that their government was run by the military, and then soon they had democratically elected government. In 1989, people in what was then Czechoslovakia sang this song as they protested their communist government and sought to bring democracy in their area. So democracy came from Greece. Thank you, little elf. That's very helpful. In some of its forms, but also democratic, anyway, really in a lot of places. All over the world, people have sung this song, and every time they have sung it, they have been singing it about wishing for the world to be different, to be more fair for all people, to be a place where people were free and able to make their own decisions. All over the world, from India to South Korea to South Africa to East Germany and here in the United States. And when I was taught this song, I was taught that you always sing it with other people because it's "We Shall Overcome," and it reminds us that we have to work together. And that when you sing it at a rally, you even make sure to interlock your hands to show like one arm over the other. Can you do it with me? Yeah, and then I hold this hand and then one arm, exactly. To show that we're much stronger when we hold hands and we work together, and that's how you sing this song, with your arms like that. I think Germany is probably on here somewhere, but tricky to find. So I want to invite our singers to sing that song for us one more time, and maybe we will think as we hear it about all the places all over the world where it has been sung for freedom.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Now I invite our children to head off to their classes. We will sing you on your way. As you go, words are in your order of service.
Peace to you on your way. May you grow in love each day. Meeting new friends and opening your mind to the wonders of the world you will find. To the wonders of the world you will find.
Today's prayer was adapted from several online prayers from an author simply known as Bev. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable with you, for you, as I read this prayer. Spirit of life, as we stand amidst the ever-changing currents of life, we seek serenity and harmony. This world often threatens to drown out the gentle whisper of the divine, pulling our spirits in so many different directions. Yet we yearn for the harmony that transcends human understanding, the peace that persists even when the storms of life rage on. The tumult of the world, its worries, its strife, its relentless pace, can seem unending. It is hard to find the stillness of quiet moments, to pause and listen to our inner voice. Help us turn our spiritual ears to the rhythms of peace and tranquility. Help us to seek the melody of love, to drown out the discord that sometimes grips our hearts. As we navigate the diverse chapters of life, be it joy, sorrow, triumph, or trial, let them all work together in a symphony that leads us to greater peace and understanding. Chaos might be the norm of the world, but help us find a harmony that encompasses all creation, a divine harmony that is not just an external environment, but an internal state of being. Amidst life challenges, remind us that we have the power to choose love over resentment and compassion over discord. May we leave today a little more in tune with ourselves, each other, and the broader web of life. May it be so.
Would you now join us in singing Spirit of Life? Words are in your order of service, first in Spanish, then in English.
Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí y al corazón, cántale compasión.
Each week, this congregation gives 70% of monies collected during our offering to an organization whose values resonate with our own. For the month of December, the offering will support the UUCA Social Justice Fund. The UUCA SJF supports congregational events and projects, specifically those that actively work to make the world a better place. In 2024 and 2025, a portion of your support will specifically fund anti-racism and anti-oppression congregational activities and learning opportunities. There are a number of ways to give. You can write a check to UUCA and write pledge or share the plate in the memo line. You can donate online by clicking the donate button at the top of the website. You can even go to PayPal and text a number to donate, so no shortage of ways to give. With that, I invite the ushers to please come forward.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand. And someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. 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 There's a place where we don't have to feel unknown. And every time that you call out, you're a little less alone. If you only say the word, from across the silence, your voice is heard. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need someone to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You are not alone. 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 You are not. You are not alone. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need someone to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only
I invite you to join me in the blessing of our offering. The words are printed in your order of service. Ushers, please come forward. We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. Let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jan Schiff, and with me on the chancel is Karen Tripp. We sing in the church choir, the Sanctuary Singers. We would like to share a few thoughts with you this morning about how participation in the choir has enriched our lives. Joyful exhilaration and connectedness are what I feel when I sing in the choir on Sunday morning. Our music is not just a performance, but rather an offering, an invitation to you, the congregation, to participate with us in this worship experience. When I am moved by the emotion in a piece of music, which is often, I look out and I connect with members of the congregation with all my emotions, and it feels so good. These musical experiences have the potential of building a community of shared purpose between the choir and the congregation, and help us to create an environment where we feel comfortable being vulnerable and connecting with one another. On another note, participation in the choir is a valuable learning experience. I have become a better sight reader, a better singer, and a better listener. In the choir, I am part of a community that has formed a covenant to produce music together. To achieve that, we have learned to listen to each other and to complement each other's pitches and breathing. We aspire to connect our whole selves when we sing, listening with our ears and listening with our hearts. David Mann, our talented director, teaches us about music as we rehearse, the mechanics of how we produce sound, breathing, and tempo, as well as the history of the piece and the composer. When we understand the words and the emotions of the piece, we can empathize and communicate that emotion. David often has the four sections, sopranos, altos, tenors, and basses, take turns singing their individual parts. When we listen while the other sections sing, we become better appreciators of what the composer has written and better appreciators of each other's singing, and we are more present to the harmonies that we are creating together. Karen?
So, as Jan said, my name is Karen Tripp. I have been a member of a Unitarian choir since I was a teenager. I grew up in a UU church in Fairfax down the road. Here, like everywhere I've been, being part of a music ministry is especially important part of my experience of being at church. It's the most meaningful form of my giving to others. I do give money as well, but as we say in the offering blessing, I give of my time and talent to help nurture this congregation, and I'm grateful that I have that opportunity. I find it especially meaningful to be involved in music ministry because I feel like it is something that actively encourages everybody to participate in music in an active way. For me, music is not just something that we experience by listening to a talented few present what they have studied and learned, and I absolutely appreciate that experience too, but it makes me very happy when I see music as a part of life and to know that I am involved in fostering this experience here at UUCA and fostering the experience of community that grows from building music together. I feel like creating music helps us listen more carefully to one another, to ourselves, and to practice expressing ourselves authentically. But at a very deep level, my participation in music ministry at UUCA is also essentially selfish in the basic sense of being something for myself. The act of singing involves existing in the present moment, and it produces in me a sense of joy that arises unrelated to the content of the song. As Jan mentioned, singing in choir involves listening closely to one another to create balance and harmony. And I think that the act of singing helps us practice those skills of listening to one another, that we can then use those skills in other aspects of our lives. So even though at times I must push myself a little to get out the door on Thursday evening to come to choir rehearsal after a long day at work, I'm always very glad to have done it. It always makes me feel better. Participating in choir every Thursday evening and when we sing on Sunday morning is the activity I engage in each week that makes me feel most in touch with my deepest self and most connected to others. So I'm grateful to have a place and an activity that fosters my own joy and fulfillment, and to know that in doing so, I am contributing to this community by helping to create a space that I hope allows others to have a similar experience.
On a final note, simply put, singing in a choir, our choir, with shared purpose to produce harmonious music together is very enjoyable and very gratifying. The musical selections are diverse: classical, gospel, contemporary. We hope we have piqued your curiosity, and some of you may consider joining us and being part of the Sunday music worship offerings. Find us after service for further discussion. Thank you so much.
For the past 4 years, I have been teaching Scottish Highland dance as one of the founders of the Alexandria School of Highland Dance. This is a pretty obscure cultural dance, but one thing that makes it unique is that we have a textbook for our dances. There's a set of prescribed steps for each standard dance, and you are evaluated on how well you stick to that script. In theory, this should make everything pretty straightforward. Just do what the book tells you, and you're all set. As I've started teaching, though, I have encountered a very common challenge. I'll teach new dancers a dance for the first time. They practice with me, counting and clapping about the same speed each time. They have it down, and then I turn on the music. Suddenly, every dancer is dancing to a slightly different tempo. Some are charging ahead as if the goal is simply to finish the dance as fast as possible. Some might miss the intro and they start a few beats behind the rest. Some complain that we have never used this tune before and they couldn't even find the beat in the droning of the bagpipes. It turns out that listening to the music is a surprisingly important part of the learning process for new dancers. Listening becomes even more important when you're dancing with a live piper or an entire pipe band, where you're never entirely sure what the tempo is going to be until the music starts, and even that might not remain consistent throughout the entire dance. I've become a pro at what we have coined aggressive eye contact with the rest of our dancers to ensure that they get specific cues for things like entrances and exits. I guess this makes me the group's designated listener. It strikes me that it's not terribly surprising that our dancers aren't always amazing listeners. In some ways, having such a detailed textbook discourages listening. It makes dancers focus on technique and memorization rather than hearing and feeling the music. And isn't that something that so many of us can relate to? I know I do my worst listening when I think I have it all figured out. When I have a plan in mind and a goal to pursue, sometimes I tune everything else out in the pursuit of that goal, even my own inner wisdom. Dancing and teaching have forced me to be more in the moment, to react to what I'm hearing rather than what I expect to hear. It's made me more flexible, both physically and mentally, and it's made me more attuned to those around me. While I'm sure I will continue calling out, listen to the music and stay with the beat, I'll be doing it with a newfound appreciation for the opportunity to dance in harmony with the music and with each other.
Thank you so much, Amy, for that. I really love the idea of the importance of listening, even when we have the instructions, and maybe especially then. And Jan and Karen, thank you so much for sharing the meaning that choir has in your life. I am not surprised that that ended with a plug for choir. My favorite version of a plug for choir was when David Mann was just hired, not yet introduced to the congregation, came to just be here for a couple of services and sat in the pew so he could get to know what our Sunday services were like. And while singing the hymns, someone turned to him, again, our newly hired director of music, though they didn't know, and said, "You have a great voice. You should consider joining the choir." David does have a really great voice, but he's busy while the choir sings. I love the fact that the choir here is so forceful with their invitations to people to join them, because I know it comes out of the experience of joy that they have when they sing together. And I believe that that experience of joy has to do with the music that they're making and feeling like they sound great and all of those good pieces, but that fundamentally it is also about the experience of covenant and the experience of community that we have when we create anything together, but particularly something that asks us to be present, to use our bodies and our hearts, and to listen so that what we create is one. One of the things that I particularly find amazing about group singing or group music making of any kind, though I think it is in high relief when we sing together, is the concept of entrainment, which is what happens physiologically to our bodies when we sing together, especially when we chant together or we sing on shared beat, that over time, as we join together in that singing, our hearts begin to beat in rhythm with each other. Not perfectly, we're not the Borg, one collective, but our hearts begin to listen to each other as we sing. The experience of oneness, that elusive spiritual experience at the core of every religious tradition, right? The idea that we are not fundamentally separate from each other, but fundamentally connected, that actually happens in our bodies when we make music with each other. I went to my first music class when I was 3 years old and quickly began piano lessons, which I continued all the way, in fact, through college. But I was serious about my piano lessons through middle school. As I got to high school, I had a choice to make. I had a choice as to whether to continue piano lessons in a significant way and kind of take that route, which would have been many hours of practice a day and piano competitions and things, or to study much more casually so that I could also do things like theater and musical theater with my time. I chose that second one, and I think in the end it wasn't because I loved theater more than I loved piano, but because I loved people and community more than I loved being alone. Despite duets, occasionally piano is a relatively solo sport. You play by yourself, you practice in a little room, you perform on your own for the most part. Instead of many, many hours of piano, which I was actually pretty good at, I instead spent many, many hours singing in musicals, which I'm not so good at. And I did it because I loved the alto line. I loved the harmonies created. I loved the possibility of a thing we built together more than I loved the possibility of a thing I did alone, even if it was technically more proficient. That kind of building together is what we do in church in many ways. Music is only one of them. And I was particularly taken by the fact that on this Sunday, as David pulled together musicians from throughout the congregation, every one of those pieces involves more than one musician. Whether they are partners who have been practicing at home in preparation, or people who have never sung together before this day, we saw community and relationship. We heard community and relationship in the music this morning. My hope for us as we move into this holiday season here in the congregation and in our lives as a whole, as we move in and through difficult times in our own lives and in our families and in the world around us, that we hold the lessons of music making, that we remember what it is for our hearts to beat as one because we are choosing to sing together. That we remember the importance of the alto line, often the same note over and over, but making the whole so much richer. The importance of each one of those voices in the choir, the give and take of jazz or a jam session, where you have to listen and wait for the right moment to come in. The importance when dancing of knowing the steps and also listening to the music. Whatever music making looks like or sounds like for you, whether it is simply swaying along or opening your mouth and finding that an aria comes out, I hope that you have a lot of it this season and that we create that community each time we make music together here. Our closing hymn is a familiar one, perhaps, for you, even maybe if you have never been to a Unitarian Universalist congregation before, you might know this tune. I certainly expect that everybody will be singing this one very loud, having heard an invitation like today. And I'm excited that we have it on organ and trumpet as well, coming up from our choir loft from David and from Jesse. So I invite you to rise in body and in spirit and sing hymn number, Lori? 318. We would be one.
Please join me in extinguishing our chalice. The words are printed in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light and warmth it represents. These we carry with us, bringing our sparks of love to the world.
Makers come out of the woodwork and out of the rafters. May they come out of you. May you find a way to train your heart to others and to make music wherever you go.